Hello, everybody. You have me and Melissa. Hi, Melissa. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Don?
Doing good. Melissa, as we know, is Sisters Against the System. If you're on Facebook, please go to Sisters Against the System and check out what they're doing. They're doing a lot of fabulous things. She does a show here. We're going to be getting back and getting into all of the shows and trying to get a weekly schedule created because it's been very sporadic. But me and Melissa joined today, Down Behind the Walls and Sisters Against the System, to talk about the school to prison pipeline. I am sure most of everybody has heard this, and if not, then you should know about what's going on, especially if you're a parent. They're really creating a pipeline to get our kids from schools to prisons. They want people to be in prisons, and now they're attacking our youth. And they've been doing it for quite some time, but it's just getting more and more obvious as the days go on. We do have some people that might be calling in and joining us. So if you hear a ding, Melissa, that would be one of them. So we can accept them in as they come, if they do come. But I want to play this little video right here of Jaden Smith talking about the school to prison pipeline. And he's young, but he's very wise in this matter. So I want to play that. It's only 2 minutes, so if you guys could listen to what he has to say, it makes a lot of sense, and then we'll jump in after that.
They're not just trying to go and be criminals or do messed up things. People are trying to survive. People are trying to support their families. And that's what's just so fucked up. And if we gave people an option, another way, more jobs, more education, so that they could support their families, then maybe we wouldn't have everybody in the prisons. But guess what? They want us in the prisons because that's how they're going to make money.
Oh, yeah, and they keep them full. And we've built more prisons in 1 year than we have built schools in the last 10, 20 years, bro.
It's just so...
and it is a system. And they look at your kids saying, okay, the dad is here, and in 10 years we'll have you. And then in another 5 years, we have your little brother.
And we're preparing everybody to go to prison through the schools. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, the people that are not doing good in the grades, oh, you're doing like this, oh, you go to the detention, da-da-da. Mm-hmm. There's too many correlations between public schools and prisons. The fact that you have the long hallways, the fact that you have a fixed response to authority, the fact that, oh, there's a specific time when you can go outside and play, and then there's a specific time that you can come back in. And the way that you're notified with that happening is through the bells. They're subconsciously getting you to have a fixed response to authority and understanding what it's going to be like when you are in prison. It's like, no, when you're here, you have to listen to me. I'm in charge. Now I'm going to pass you off to this next person is in charge when you're doing this. And it's like you have these fixed response to authorities, and then you know how to react. And it's just like, oh, okay, you went to school, all right, you already know how it's going to go in prison. You've got the bells, you've got the times where you can go out, when you have to come back in, and then you have your authority figures that you have to respond to. You've already been trained for this. Your whole life, you've been bred for this.
Yeah.
The same way that they're breeding, the same way that they're breeding animals and slaughtering them and then feeding it to all of us is the same way. That's what they're breeding us to go into prison. They're breeding us, or they're breeding us to go to school and learn how to work a 9 to 5 and work to a factory. Like, school was invented for the Industrial Revolution because people were cutting their fingers off in the factories because they couldn't read the instructions. So they were like, oh, people are literally killing themselves in these new factories because we just discovered how to do all of this stuff. So put them in school 9 to 5 so they get used to waking up 9 a.m. and then finishing at 5 p.m. They get used to the bells. They have the bells in the factories, too. They have the times where you go.
Okay. So, any thought? Who joined us?
Bozilla.
Hey, that was just Jaden Smith talking about the school to prison pipeline and how they really take our youth and they mold them and train their mind in order to get them ready for prison, which is where they are hoping that our youth go. It's like they're targeting them to put them in a prison and training their mind to be obedient so that they can be in the prison industry and that they can make money off of their back. So I was just playing that little clip right there. You had came in on that. So we're going to talk about the school to prison pipeline, which I know you are very passionate about as well. You even created a Facebook page about it, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure did.
Okay, and it's called School to Prison Pipeline, right?
Yes, it is. That's what
Okay,
it's called.
so everybody needs to look that up as well, and there'll be links shared there with more information on what they're doing to our youth. Melissa is here with us. Melissa,
Hey,
do you
Melissa.
have anything that you want to say about the clip or how you feel about this situation?
Yes, Dawn. Hi, Stephen. It's good to see you again. You know, I'm one of those mothers that raised a son through the juvenile justice system, and yes, he is in and out of adult prison now. He is currently out. To give you an idea of the generation we're talking about, my son is 33 years old, and he's been incarcerated 4 times as an adult and 40-something as a juvenile. Interestingly enough, most of those charges, I'd say a good 25 of them were runaway charges. Now, he was locked up in juvenile as soon as they take him. I believe in my state, Arizona, it's 8 years old. And I myself watched the other mothers with the regulars go in there, and we all seem to have the same attitudes, the same looks on our faces. Boy, people avoided us like the plague, you guys. We looked like we were just ready to kill everybody, no questions asked.
Right.
And I saw what happened to our children. And it really is, it seemed to me like there was some sort of curse on the juvenile prison that said, okay, here you are, and this means that you are destined to go to Flores as an adult or Perryville if you're a female. And that's just, once they go, they don't seem to be able to stay out of the place. And surprisingly enough, a big part of my problem, everybody, was that these days juvenile is a status symbol. The other kids think it's cool.
Right.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And it's
Yes,
not,
I know
because that revolving door that we all are well aware of, they create a revolving door to keep you in the system. And like you were saying, it's like once they go, they keep going, because that revolving door, no matter what status you're in, whether it be juvenile or adult, when you get in trouble, that revolving door is the same.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. You're right. Because I know when I came home from prison and got my release, I had to go to the county jail. And there was a bunch of guys down, the young kids. They had to be like 18, 19. And they were happy. Just couldn't believe I had my prison blues on. And say, oh, man, you have a number. And that's great, man. I can't wait to get my number tattooed on me. I said, why you want that? I said, that number's already going to follow you for the rest of your life, just like your Social Security number. So why would you want to put it on your body?
Right. But, I think that a lot of that comes from, like, the music industry and entertainment, movies. If you glorify it, if you have people, like rap artists glorifying about their prison time and how hardcore they are and the crimes that they commit, and it's not only rap, it happens in other music, too, like rock and roll. And then you have TV shows where they, the hardcore mobsters go to prison and they come out and, they're celebrated upon coming out, and people feel like, okay, well, they matter because they went through something and they survived it, so now they're a boss, they're a G, they're hard. But really, in reality, they got caught in a system that was put there for them, and they're no more than a bear walking through the forest getting caught in a bear trap.
Exactly. You're right.
And you know what? For those that do make it in the music industry, I'd like to call attention to a young rapper that goes by the name of Tekashi 6ix9ine. Look at his story. Who wants to be in his shoes?
Right. Right.
Yeah, I actually have down the road connections that end up tying to him through a person. But he was, before he was caught by the police, a lot of people did want to be in his shoes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
he made
he was wild. He was crazy. He was on IG all the time, going live, doing crazy stuff, going to neighborhoods, saying, oh, I'm in your neighborhood. What are you going to do about it?
But he wasn't real about it. That's the problem. It was all a big act, and when he did end up in prison, he's going in the witness protection program, people. They're going to give him plastic surgery. He's going to have to testify against all those mean people. The end is so not good. I hope he had a lot of fun when he was doing it, because he's going to pay such a high price for that. Honestly, I can't stand the way he acted or his music, but I honestly feel very sorry for Daniel Hernandez, is his real name, and I feel sorry for his mother and his girlfriend and his daughter. It's a tragedy. It really is a tragedy. And it wasn't just the cops that got him, by the way. He had alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and one other agency, too. He had the feds there, ATF, and, Homeland Security.
Yeah. And, a lot of, it's not only the schools that are preparing our kids for prison. It's the music, the entertainment.
Yeah.
You have, even with adults, you have all the news going on that people don't even know what's going on with the country. They want to watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and, stuff like that. That's a distraction to keep people ignorant from what's really going on. That's what they want you to be watching. They don't want you to watch CNN.
Right.
They don't, and they put this stuff on a pedestal and make it, okay, well, that's what's popping, that's what's cool, so that's what you should be doing.
Right.
Just like Cardi B. She's not talented.
She just did something too, didn't she? She just did something too just a minute ago.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. But, she came from, one of these Love and Hip Hop shows, and, I thought she was funny. I had watched a couple of them, and I thought, she was bold. She spoke her mind. That was cool, whatever. Keep it real. I can appreciate anybody keeping it real, and I found her funny. She made me laugh on many occasions on there. But as far as becoming a rapper, she's not talented. Why they put her on that pedestal is because she's ignorant, and she's going to lead the youth into a way that they want them to go.
Right. I know my daughter watches her all the time. She sees her. She's like, I love her music. I said, the whole part is, do you know what's in between her ears? Is she smart?
Right.
I tell her that all the time. I said, quick.
Any child should be looking up to, listening to, or trying to be like. That's nobody. Right. And she just confessed to using her sexuality to lure men in to drug them and rob them, and that she's okay with it. So you have R. Kelly doing that to young girls. Okay, so maybe hers weren't young boys, but they're both wrong.
That's right.
But they're going to let her have fame because those are the people they want to lead our youth to where they want them to be. It's not popping. It's not cool. It's for the blind sheep of the media and entertainment world. All these people that blindly follow that are going to try to be just like her. And where are they going to end up? They're not going to end up like her. They're not going to end up being on TV or on the radio. They're going to end up in prison.
But, Dawn, it's not just the music industry. It's interesting that the best news, the most informed news programs are on the public broadcasting channel. Have you ever noticed that? These are the news programs where you get the people that were actually there at the meeting with the president when he said what he said. They're the people you listen to on that channel. The other news channels, we've got the good-looking, white, bright white, smiley, good-looking.
Perfect teeth, shiny hair that could be on a hair commercial for shampoo. Yeah, and basically the news is just giving you their opinion. Nothing more than what we're doing now. But
the news on the
they have no facts, they weren't there.
But the other news is informative, and we pay for that out of our own pocket. So we're getting the truth. Isn't that interesting?
Well, you know that the media is owned by 6 companies.
Yes, I do.
So, the media is made to cover up and push an agenda too, and they're going to do that. But, I mean, you would get more information sorting out the truth through the news than you would Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we all have our own minds. We can think for ourselves. And, you know, just like in the world that we live in, there's so many people that feel one way and there's so many people that feel another. And what that does is cause separation. They put labels, like we just spoke about this before, Democratic, Republican. You do not have to put a title on yourself. You do not have to claim a status. You don't have to be Republican or Democratic or
no.
You don't have to do that. You believe in what's good and what's right and what you feel is positive, and that's what you believe in. Whether it be a Republican move, a Democratic move, it doesn't matter.
But, you know, the biggest concern about this prison to the school to prison pipeline is that when a child is incarcerated, they aren't getting educated. They're getting their education in bits and pieces, and when they grow up, they have nothing.
Well, you know, education, I mean, history, do they really teach facts in history? They took cursive writing away from our youth. They don't have to learn that anymore. I think they said because it's too complicated. Now they're taking away analog clocks because everybody has digital. Kids no longer need to learn how to tell time, and that's just absurd.
Oh, exactly. Great.
So, you know, like we're saying, they mold our kids to where they want them to be. Like, you know, you have math. Okay, we need math. But, you know, when you get to the point of geometry, me personally, when they ask me for my rent, it's never A plus B times 300 is what my rent is. It's always $1,000. Like, I've never really had to use that. So I feel like, you know, some of it is quite intense. But core basic math is a necessity. Spelling, reading, language arts, all this stuff needs to be taught. But I don't feel like taking stuff out of the schools like cursive writing and telling time should happen. I think that they should learn that. But I feel like, you know, teachers aren't getting paid what they're supposed to. They don't care anymore. You know, they're just irritated. And the less that they have to teach, the easier the day is for them. But then you have kids out here that can't tell time unless it's on their phone.
Yeah.
That's right.
When you get to prison, whether you're a child or an adult, there is no education. Education no longer matters. You're no longer important. But the same rules apply. When we tell you to go to recess, you go to recess. When we tell you to come in, you come in. When you hear the bells, that has an action behind it. Either you get to your bunk and you get ready to tell them your DC number, or you go to work, or you go to chow. There's a bell for everything, just like in school.
Yep, you're right. It makes me think about, have you ever watched Star Wars, not Star Wars, Star Trek, the Borg, we are Borg, the aliens, and they're controlled by one main computer, and they have to do what they say. It's almost okay, sci-fi. But if you see it, it kind of reminds you of how the system controls you when you're inside the prison. You have to do what you say, have to do what they say. We all dress alike. And they have one person who controls it. And you do what they tell you to do. It's almost like you almost are an android.
Yeah. Okay, so what I was talking to Melissa kind of something about this before we had started the show. In Oregon, they have foster care children who are in foster care, and they are at a shortage of foster care parents in Oregon. So what they did, they started putting them in a hotel. So people were complaining about hotels being used for foster care. So they took abandoned jails and sheriff office holding cells, and they put the kids there. So these kids, just because they said they made it as homey as they possibly can. But a jail is a jail. You could take a pretty beach picture and stick it on a concrete jail wall, but it's still a jail. So these kids are being punished for not having parents. They didn't do anything wrong, and they're placing them into jail. Yes, it's not open. Yes, it's not active. But they feel like they're still incarcerated. They feel like they're being punished, and they did nothing wrong but have parents that obviously couldn't be parents. Or maybe their parents are in jail, so now you put this teenage kid that can't get a foster care in a jail cell with a pretty picture, and what are you telling her? That she's not worthy of love, that she's not worthy of a family, that this is where you're going to end up anyway, so why don't we just put you there?
Send off a failure.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, the sad thing is that this is the age when kids really learn their self-esteem, and these things stick for life. And they're ruining it by doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, with the school shootings and stuff like that have been going on more rampant, especially here where I'm at in Florida. It's scary. You don't, and then the other day, just yesterday, a fifth grader got killed in a fight at her school. She died. 5th grade, elementary school.
Mm.
Yeah, they're getting very vicious. Young girls these days are, here in Arizona, they're slashing each other's faces with razor blades.
Mm.
And that to me is so violent. That is just above and beyond bad.
It's just horrible. And, it's like all these people are like, well, what happened to the people that did this to the girl? Are they going to prison? They need to be killed too. And you have these people that feel that way, which I get it. I understand as a mother. I get it. But then, I look at my kid who has been in fights at school. And what if he hit somebody in that wrong way, trying to defend himself from a bully or something, and they ended up dying? He didn't mean it.
Right.
He didn't mean it. So until you know all the facts, you shouldn't, jump to stuff like that. This kid is probably, I didn't mean it. It was just a fight, I didn't mean it, and now she has to deal at such a young age that she killed somebody. So it's
maybe
tragic.
She was bullied.
Or maybe she was a bully,
bully.
and if that's the case, she needs to be handled. But she's so young. It's so sad. How can, as a mother, look at an 11-year-old kid that's in the 5th grade and be like, and knowing what we know about the prison system, be like, you made a mistake, and it costs so much. It costs another child their life that you need to go to prison for the rest of your life. I feel so bad for this kid that lost her life, and I hate bullying, but I could not look at any child and be like, I banish you to prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I even have a hard time doing that with child sex offenders. Because I keep thinking, well, if they're doing this as a child,
it was probably taught.
It was done to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like that's where mental health and counseling and all that stuff needs to come into play. And it's like that just doesn't even exist anymore. I mean, you have people out here that, they try to get counseling and they try to get help and they make them jump through loops to get it. But once you're incarcerated, it's non-existent. And then when you go into the court system, like, I don't know if you guys have heard of John Chuck.
No, we got different ones out here.
Well, John Chuck is a guy that threw his daughter off the Skyway Bridge here in Florida. He's standing trial now. It's been off of Facebook.
Yeah, I heard that.
The trial's been going on Facebook, and I've been following it because it hit so close to home to me. He threw his 5-year-old daughter off the Skyway Bridge, well, a little bridge right before you get to the Skyway Bridge, and now he's standing trial. But they use this, oh, I'm crazy, I plead insanity, and it's like, it makes you, it's so crazy because it's like, I know that there are people out there that could benefit from mental health before prison. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that have mental health. But then you put a case in front of me where an innocent child was killed by the hands of her own father, and it doesn't matter to me anymore. I say throw them off the same damn bridge. But is that not hypocritical of me? When I'm trying to push for more mental health and for people that do have mental health to get the treatment that they deserve instead of going to prison, but once you put that child in the factor for me, I lose all of that. I no longer care. But what if he wasn't in his right mind? What if demons were talking to him? What if, so it kind of makes me feel like hypocritical. Like I push for there needs to be more mental health available, especially in the prisons, but before they get to prison. A lot of people could benefit from mental health more than prison, which would...
Well, yeah. I want to interject, though, because the problem I had when Matt was growing up is the therapists were no good, or he wouldn't talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I get that. I mean, I was a juvenile, and I had many people that did try to intervene and counsel, and I didn't want to talk to them, but my reasoning was they didn't understand what the fuck I was going through. Because you read it out of a book in chapter 13, you can't relate to me. You've never lived it. You were given a silver spoon at birth. You have everything made, and you don't know the life that I've had to live out here on the streets with abusive parents, having to survive as an 11-year-old kid. You don't get it. You don't understand. And I got tired of people pretending like they cared. Because in a teenager's mind, when your parents don't care, and you get thrown from facility to facility, and some stranger comes in, and all of a sudden this stranger just cares so much, you call bullshit.
You don't believe it. You're right. You
want somebody that's been through it, that's gone through it, that actually understands.
That's right.
Not somebody that read it in a book. And I'm not discrediting those that took the time to study and learn, but without personal experience, you're still lacking.
You can't relate.
You can't. Until you've actually gone through the fire, you can't tell me how hot the burn is.
That's so true.
Well, I think it would be lovely if they would offer returned citizens the opportunity to train, to become these therapists.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Okay,
I think that would be perfect. Who better to counsel these kids than adult offenders that have been through it?
Okay, well, you guys both know that I'm in school for psychology. I'm getting my psychology counseling degree. Here's the problem. Mm-hmm. I'm halfway done. I got all A's and B's. I was invited to honor societies for psychology.
Good for you.
Girl.
So, will I be able to use it when I'm done? Who's going to hire me?
Well, wait. You know what? The way things are going, I have faith. You will get a job.
I have faith,
and
too.
And it will be a good paying one.
I don't believe that
you don't?
It's on my heart to do, and for me to complete it at such a high degree, for me not to be able to use it, even if I have to open my own practice.
No, you'll be able to. Just look at the way things are going.
You'll be able to do it, because that's like when you go to law school, everybody says, you want to be a lawyer? I said, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer. Yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer.
Definitely.
Do it. You'll do it.
You will.
And you'll help. You'll be a good one.
Oh, yeah. I definitely am ready, and I want to help and talk to youth that, are going down the same path that I've been through. I've been through it. I've been there. And not only have I been there, I was dumb enough to go back, and I was dumb enough to go back because I got caught in that revolving door. I didn't have family. I didn't have, I knew it was survival. I was on the streets. Yeah, I wanted to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be tough. I wanted to hang out with, the down crowd or whatever, but it was bullshit. Where are they now? Where were they when I went in? They weren't writing no letters or accepting no calls.
No,
but when you get out, they're right there with a hand clap and a hug and maybe a dime sack. You got to be smarter. You do. You got to be smarter.
Well, I had a friend who had a son who was a gangster. He got out of prison at 15 or juvenile, and his gang buddies gave him a vehicle and a bunch of drugs to sell. And he looked like he was sitting so pretty. A week later, we drove by him on the road, and his vehicle had 7 bullets in it, bullet holes. And I thought, okay, yeah. It just doesn't work out.
No, it don't work out. I mean, either you're going to end up dead or in prison.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the way of the streets. However, where you get caught up is they don't pay a living wage anywhere.
Mm-hmm. No.
So if you're trying to raise a family by yourself, especially single mothers, it's rough. There's days when you got to figure out, what do I pay? Do I pay the electric? Do you think we could go 3 days without lights so that we can eat?
Yeah. I've been there.
And these are mothers that are going to school, working 40 hours, and taking care of kids. They can't meet it because it has been proven that not one state in America pays a living wage.
My God, you're so true.
So what do you expect? So knowing that I'm living in a country that does not want anybody to be able to live comfortably, they just, work to die, no fun. That if a mother went into Publix and stole some lunch meat and bread and put it under her dress and ran out, I don't want her to go to jail.
No.
But they're going to go to jail, and the people are going to get rich off the work she does in there, off of her back, and her kids are going to go in a foster care system, probably in one of these Oregon jails, and you're going to have people actually clapping their hands because, yay, they're getting the hardcore criminals off the street.
But here's another weird thing. They're making all these products, things to buy with this prison labor, and everybody's getting locked up.
Yeah.
Who's going to buy it?
Yeah.
We're going to have a depression.
Yeah.
So all these people clapping, I hope they're clapping when it all crashes down.
Do you know that
I'm going to be clapping?
J.C. Penney's, Kmart's, Payless,
Target.
Yeah, 27 different stores are closing either all or half of their properties because they can't even afford to be open because of Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
All these people are going to lose their jobs. Where's their replacement job? The poverty level is about to skyrocket.
And nobody seems to see that.
And what are these people going to do? They got to eat. It's going to become a survival.
Yep.
Well, I suggest all the homeless go camp out on the politicians' front lawn and put up a big porta potty and plenty of tents.
They'll just arrest them and throw them in prison where they want them to be anyway.
Yeah.
Trespassing, disorderly conduct,
jaywalking.
Yeah, and God forbid somebody come out there and ask them to move and they bump into them picking up their tent or something. Oh, my God, aggravated assault.
Yeah, the police will raid Tent City in a minute.
Exactly.
Cause look, I went to Tent City and was talking to some people, and they were kind of hesitant to talk to me because they didn't know what I was. And I told them what I did and what I've been to prison and all that type of stuff, and so I'm here to help and like to do anything I can do for you.
Right.
Gave them some McDonald's and stuff like that. I know that's not enough, but I had my money.
But it's better than nothing, right?
Right.
Like me with my love bags. Like you guys have seen me. I collect clothes. I collect shoes. I collect hygiene. Anything that you guys have laying around that you don't need, I put it in a bag. And when people are released from jail, or even single mothers out here that are just struggling and could use a bag of hygiene, I give it to them. I give it to them. I give it to them. Is it enough? No. And there's many days where I can't even afford to do that. But I can't quit because it's better than nothing.
Quit. I was telling my wife, I said I want to get a bag and start put hygiene and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And when we drive down the street and I see people that I know that are homeless, I give them, just open up the trunk and just give it to them.
Yeah. I got snack boxes full of little crackers and Ritz crackers and Cheez-Its and granola bars and little lunch cakes and stuff. Fill a box up and just hand it to them.
Because you go to the dollar store and you can clean up on the dollar store stuff.
Yes. I love that store.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's what people need to realize. That's a little step that you can do.
Yeah, it's one random act of kindness. And I actually put on a post on my Facebook the other day that said all it takes is one random act of kindness. If you could just do one random act of kindness, we can't save the world, but we can be good people. And I got attacked for putting that post up by somebody that's on my Facebook page telling me that I'm a sheep and I'm blind. And that kindness doesn't get anybody anywhere. It just means that I'm weak. And I told him, don't get it twisted, because I can be as nice can be. But if you cross me, I can get down too. So
there you go.
Don't get it twisted. I can give you cake, but if you bite my hand, you might get slapped. So.
But you're right, though. I hate when people do that. I hate when people do that. Because I've seen some stuff that you do, and I think it's great. Because, and I get mad at people that say stuff. And I say, man, she's doing her thing.
Right.
Don't hate on her.
It's fine. You're always going to have people that...
Of course.
I've learned that.
I love them. I love haters.
Oh, yeah.
That means I'm doing my job.
They're still paying attention. They ain't block or delete me, so they're still following what I'm doing.
Exactly.
And at least I can say, for like us, at least we're doing something and not just sitting in the background.
That's right.
Complaining or sitting in the background applauding other people's actions. At least we have action to take, and we're not just social media trolls.
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
That's so true.
But it would be a good idea if the prisoners would start building those movable boxes made out of plastic that people can live in for the homeless. Have you seen those on videos on YouTube?
No, but I did see 4D printout homes that are like a one-bedroom home with a bathroom and kitchen that take about 48 hours to build and only cost about $4,000.
Yeah, wow. That's going to be the new wave. You wait and see.
That would be amazing.
Yes. Because the message is clear. We're working around the government.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me yesterday, he's like, how can you dislike Trump so much? And I'm like, because I see clearly for what he is, and pretty much he's just a reality TV show in the White House still acting a clown. And they were like, well, Hillary's no better, and they got all defensive and started down-talking Hillary and bashing Hillary, and I'm like, wait a minute, who said that I was a Hillary fan?
Yeah.
Joe, so just because I dislike Trump, I'm automatically pro-Hillary? I don't like her either.
I want Bernie.
Yeah, indeed, I did too, but...
yeah, but just, I know.
It's, people automatically, they automatically think if you're not this way, then you're that way. And that's not the case. What people need to do is have your opinion, but don't bash other people because theirs is different.
That's right.
And, there's a lot of that goes on too. And we can go on forever about a bunch of stuff, that we encounter every day. Let's go to prison pipeline, the foster kids being in there, the lack of mental health. I also wanted to touch on, I have a lady, I had shared the information, I believe with both of you, about a man who was in prison. He, we all know K2 is very rampant in the prison. So there's a lady who an officer, correction officer, who actually brings K2 into the prison, and she refuses to open up the ventilation systems, which means these inmates that are smoking K2 are pretty much polluting the air for everybody in there, even the ones that don't want to partake. Now, we had an older gentleman, and I'm not going to say any names. I can't at this moment, but we had an older gentleman who already had, some health issues, and he asked the officer to open the ventilation system, in which she declined and said she's not here to help him. She actually makes comments all the time, which I have proof of, this officer saying she was only hired to torture them. So the man went to medical, and he declared a medical emergency and told them that he was having chest pains. He could not breathe because of all the K2 smoke. They laughed at him, the medical staff, and told him that there was nothing that they could do for him either, and actually sent him out to inside grounds and gave him a mower and made him mow the lawn with these chest pains that he was having, and he died right there and had a heart attack. He sought help from the dorm officer. He sought help from a few of the other inmates, and he sought help from, the medical staff there at the prison, to which he was denied. And he ended up dying by being forced to push a lawnmower. Now he is listed on the Department of Corrections Florida site as deceased. I'm sure his family has been notified that he is deceased. However, I do not believe any accountability was taken to where they notified the family that they indeed killed him, and that he was neglected for medical attention, which is majority of the cases that do happen. They, they investigate themselves, so they're always deemed clean, and there's no accountability ever taken. So I've been trying to reach this gentleman's family. I have not had any luck. I reached out to 5 people, and they have not responded back, but I'm trying to let them know the real facts on how their loved one passed away, that he did not just have a heart attack, but that he was trying to seek help, trying to see another day, and was denied that medical attention or the ventilations being open. He was denied oxygen. He was, so I have another person in there that knows everything that had happened, and they have sent me everything through a mutual party with the evidence showing the officers' names that didn't want to open the vent, the people that denied him the medical attention. But this person had actually wrote 4 grievances, and one of them was talking about, I know that this man was killed, and he sent it to the investigative general for that prison. However, it got intercepted by correctional staff and never made it to the inspector. So now we are in fear that the staff is going to either hire, more than likely, in these cases, they hire other inmates to take care of the situation, or they might even want to get personal and take care of it themselves. So I think that, all of us contacting the Department of Justice about this situation would probably be better than dealing with the prison itself or any of the staff, because they're the ones that are doing this. But that's a situation that we're dealing with, and I wanted to say that to, just because it's been weighing on my heart about this guy that's in fear for his life every day there, and this family that has no idea that, how their loved one passed. It just really bothers me. But I did put the information in that group blog, so I don't know if anybody can work on that or help me out with that. It's just been really bothering me, and it's typical in prisons to not have any medical care, or dental for that matter. So I know that I had another lady that wanted to speak on a situation where her friend was being denied medical care for stuff in there too. So I do believe that one of the big things that we need to focus on and work on is if we cannot prevent them from going in right now, and prevent the prison system from, locking up everybody for outrageous amounts of times and petty charges and everything that we've been dealing with, that we work that at least while they're there, that they're properly taken care of. that medical is nothing.
I agree with you. But Dawn, if you do need help for that, I know me and Danielle, we can help you with that.
Yeah, I would appreciate it. I put the guy's name in there. I found out that he does have a Facebook page. Of course, they didn't have a picture because he couldn't put his picture up there. He'd be caught with contraband phone. But he was from the Lakeland, Florida area, and he has a Facebook page, but it only had 5 people on there. So I reached out to all 5. I think I'm going to go back because my messages probably went to that back where they can't really see it because I'm not their friend. So I think I'm going to go back and try to request them all as a friend to see if I can get through that way.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, you can turn them on to me. I'll help you out.
Yeah, but it's so sad. I mean, it's so hard to have, to be the one to tell them.
Do you need? I can help you with that.
Yeah, any help
if you'd like.
It's just so sad. It's just really sad. But it's also very common.
That is very tragic.
Yeah, but sadly, it's very common. These people, once you're in there, you can forget about mental health help. You can forget about any medical. You can forget about any dental. You can forget about anything because you no longer matter to them. And like the officer said, she was only hired to torture you, and many of them feel that way. So I mean, we have a long way to go, but we are making.
Don, there's another problem in Florida that has spread to Arizona. There are female inmates that are all of a sudden finding money on their books from some strange man. He starts up a relationship with them, and when they're released, he picks them up, and then they're in human trafficking.
Right.
And it's happening in Arizona. A friend of mine witnessed a fight between 2 girls. One had the guy sending her money. She was moved. The inmate that took over her bed ended up getting the money. And he kept sending it to her. And it caused a huge ruckus. And so what happens, he offers them a place to stay. They can give the address to their PO.
Right.
So he helps them get out, and then once they're out, that's it. They're slaves.
Right.
Now, they're hitting these girls up deliberately because of their situation.
Right.
And
I mean,
they
research them. Not only are you prey to the staff in there, but you're prey to people like that. When I was incarcerated, I must have received letters out the blue from strangers at least 50 times. I never wrote them back. I'm not, but what they do is they look at your picture. They try to find, they actually research it. They go through the site, and you can scroll the population of the prison. So you see the pictures. So they find attractive people. They look at their charges, and if anybody's in there for like prostitution in the past or whatever, they're an easy target.
Yeah.
But they look for drug use, prostitution, theft, and violence. And it shows just a troubled female. So they look for these charges, and they just write them. And most of the time, they start the letters off as, oh, I'm taking a communication class for college, so I need pen pals, so I'm reaching out in hopes that we can form a relationship through a friendship through letters. And it starts off simple, and they make it seem like they have no ill intentions, but then it grows to, oh my God, you make me mentally think about you all day, and it goes on from there until it turns into, oh, you're writing love letters. And these women are so lonely and taken away from everything that they have that they tend to cling on to any sense of romance or love or feeling of importance that they can get. So, of course, they latch on. But then you have the other females who are kind of hip to it. So what they do is they accept it and they lead into the romance just to get money on their books for soup and chips. But you have both. And you have the females that think they're going to get out and they're going to play this man and they're going to, you know, use him for his money. And you got the man that thinks he's going to use them as a prostitute to fatten his pockets. And neither outcome is going to be okay.
Right.
You have a lot that don't go. They just write the man and get money on their books in order to eat and be comfortable in there. Just like if they were at home and they had to steal, you know, a piece of pizza to eat, it's no different. They're just doing it in a different manner to eat in there and survive, but they have no intentions on meeting the person. And it happens on the male side, too. You have a lot of men in there that, you know, get female pen pals and get visitation, get money on their books, and you know you see the lady walk in and they have no interest in them. It's just a reason for, it's just a sense of comfort while they're in there or a sense of survival.
Right.
And it happens everywhere. It's a game that's been played for many, many years by pen pals and perverts and you know, inmates. So I mean that's been going on for a long time.
Well, it's just gotten extra scary now because human trafficking is international.
Oh yeah, it's international and it always has been. It's getting a lot more limelight now than it has in the past, but it's always been there.
Okay, I really wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it's always been there. I mean, a lot of people, like I've had a lot of people be like, "Oh, R. Kelly, we had no idea that he was doing this, doing that." Well, most of the parents knew what their kids were getting involved in. They actually approved of it because they just cared more about money than they did their children. Because it's gotten to the point where this life is just a survival of the fittest, and nobody pays a living wage, so people get desperate. And when you get desperate, just like a drug addict, for their drug, you do stuff you wouldn't normally do if you had the means where you didn't have to do it. So, you know, you have these parents that are letting their kids be with older men and use their bodies because they're young and attractive and they got it. And if you remember correctly, it's been going on so long that there's even song. Remember Reba McEntire's song "Fancy"?
No, don't remember that one.
Well, she's a country singer, Reba McEntire. She's got a song named "Fancy" that came out many, many years ago, and it's talking about a mother down on her luck on welfare, and the welfare people were coming to take the baby, and she got her daughter, Fancy, dressed up really nice and introduced her to older men to try to get her into a better way of life. And it's a very popular song, but is it any different than what's going on now? In the world today, it's been that way for a long time. I mean, if you look at the president's wife, that should be enough said there.
Yeah.
I don't think they have much in common.
Not at all.
Well, she's no Jackie Kennedy.
Exactly. She's a made-to-order bride that ended up becoming the first lady.
Yes. And her daddy had something to do with it.
Right. And it's funny that she's an immigrant.
Yeah, isn't it?
But that's a whole nother topic. It's 3:30 now, so we're going to get ready to close up. Does anybody have any like burning desires that they want to talk about before we do?
No.
I do. I do want to help you with that gentleman that passed away.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't remember what the group is called, but it's a chat for the prison reform. I had put all the information in there with his name. And if you go on Facebook and look it up, it's the only one with his name without a picture. And that's the only direction that I have on finding his family as of right now.
Okay.
So, and yeah, Melissa, if you want to help too, I'll send you over his information to see if we can try to reach out to this family to find out if there is anybody, so we can let them know exactly what happened and send them over the evidence. Because if it was somebody in my family, I'd want to know.
Absolutely, they have a right.
Yeah. And they can't keep covering their asses and killing people and thinking it's funny and they can get away with it, and I'm tired of it.
Right.
The police, the correctional officers,
so we will.
They're not above the law. And, if I killed somebody right now, I'd go to prison.
You'd go to jail.
Right, so why aren't they held to the same? They're supposed to serve us. None of them do. None of them do. So, all right. With that being said, we're going to close up. I do want to try to get on a weekly schedule with sisters, with you, Melissa, and Jenny, to do a show at a certain time every day of the week so that we can, and also on the Freedom Fighter show with you, Stephen, so that we can have a weekly schedule, so that it's not like it's been sporadic. And I apologize for that, but I've had a lot going on, so I want to try to get on a schedule so that people know when to expect us, and get it more regular. So with that being said, I look forward to working with both of you in the future, and I bid you guys a good day.
All right.
All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye, everybody.